As a result of a concern made by a member of the public, led me to a farm in Dallas. It's a farm within Dallas Estate. There's over 2,000 acres and there is a herd of wild horses. And I could see from that concern made to me that something had to be done about the situation. There were far too many horses in competition for too little land. There's also cattle and sheep on the land. When the initial concern was dealt with, it was obvious that help was needed, and the owner of the farm asked, after me explaining what our organisation were about, asked if we could help, and that's exactly what happened. I set about the ball rolling, where we got a team together, we got vets to have a look at them.
He's obviously been fighting with other stallions to cover the mares, to try and run the group of them, and he's got a lot of fresh wounds and old wounds, so when they're really on top nobody challenges them, but at present it looks like he's maybe getting weaker.
It was agreed between the vets and the management of our organisation that something desperately had to be done because this man had failing health and he wasn't managing to cope with them. So after the vets had come up and seen them, we then set a plan to basically round them up. Okay, what's happened is we've had a bit of bother getting a herd from the top of the field down to the bottom because there's too many exits, but we have managed after half an hour to get them down into the flat bit where we want them. We're going to let them rest there until they've settled, until their adrenaline has died down, and then we're going to take them in the hill that you can see where the steading is, and hopefully they'll walk up that hill, and that's exactly where we want them for the time being. We've actually got the assistance of a charity called Horseback UK, which is a charity for injured soldiers, and they are actually helping us round up the horses to enclose them in this 40 acres.
So in this particular task that we've been asked to get involved in, there's map reading skills, there's the use of the ground, because obviously we have to come up around the ponies, you have to know where the wind's coming from. So many of the skills the guys have actually been taught in the military are transferable. So I think that this is a very good example of how guys can assist society as they recover, and veterans can use the skills that they've got to help things that are needed to do in the community.
The 40 acres is divided by 4. So if you numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, number 1 field is the field where they will be collected first. They'll be put into number 2, into number 3, and number 4 is where they will be corralled and put into the race, and that's where they will be dealt with. Because of the nature of this job, the animals are pretty much wild, especially in the springtime when the breeding season started. So first and foremost, we had to make sure that everyone involved in this operation was safe. Therefore, we had to plan a race, which is a line of gates where the horses are put into. What's happening now is we have got the second last herd coming in at this minute, and there's a few stallions with them. But at the moment they have just been introduced to the holding area and they're very reluctant to go in. But once the first one goes in, the rest follow. But it's getting the first one in that can be the tricky part of the operation. The secret of doing this is not having them too close together, and the timing of getting these 3x3 posts through the holes on the gates stops them getting to one another once they're in the race. And hopefully, I'm just about to demonstrate it to you.
Come on.
Keep doing that back. Daffy, keep going. What's presently happening is we've actually got a foal facing the wrong way, so we need to try and get that turned round. But this is the first horse that came into the race. It's a mare with its foal, and it's going to be injected with a microchip. Both of them will be injected with a microchip, and Katrina, the vet there, is the vet that's going to do that.
What a good lady. What a good
Go on in.
girl.
John, do I go from
What
that
a good girl.
big pan?
Good girl.
We need
What's happening now, we have got a stallion in, ready to have an injection that we'll put it under, and Basically, it will be given time for the sedation to work, and then it will be given a final dose to drop it to the ground, and then it's castration time. The stallion is now under sedation, which is not reluctant to go, it's just not capable of going, and when we need to give it a helping hand. It's now in a crush as such, and John's the biggest and strongest field officer, so that's his main job. He can wrestle with them along with Neil and Ramsey. They're the younger members of the team, and basically they're there to restrain it from kicking about. As you can see behind me, we are now doing the last 5 horses out of 93. That has taken us 2 days plus a couple of hours on the 3rd day, and that's them all been microchipped, passported. All the stallions, which is 41, have been castrated. Any horses that needed feet trimming, they've been done, and that has brought the operation to a successful conclusion. All the horses came through the race. We did at one time have a bit of a scare where one jumped up and got its front legs over, but we coped with it and got it back down, got a bit more sedation in it, and from there on in it behaved itself and went through the race without any problems. Prior to World Horse Welfare coming in here, the problem was that there were too many young stallions. Although it was a big place, there wasn't enough grass. After we came in and solved the problem, the horses now, the stallions especially, will calm down. They won't be vying for position within social herds. It's hoped in the near future, when all the stallions are healed up, to hold a private auction at the farm here. But in the meantime, the horses can graze here up until they're sold off.